All right, welcome to our esteemed fans, our loyal supporters, and of course, the entire ball hockey community in Chicago. Stomps and I would like to welcome you to Season 3, Episode 4 of one of the greatest shows ever to exist on live television, on social media, and of course on YouTube. Season 3, Episode 4 of The Neutral Zone. Guys, I'm very serious about this today. We have over 100 subscribers and we need to get more. Billy, how many guys registered for the Wednesday Night League?
74.
So if all those 74 subscribe tonight, we should have over 200 subscribers. And that's important for us because when we have more subscribers, we can bring to you the greatest entertainment. And we continue to deliver, and we will deliver tonight because today we have a very special guest. His name is William Jacques. His ancestry DNA dates back to French Canadian. So I'm privileged and honored to welcome him here tonight. We're going to talk about some very serious things, but before we get started, I just want to tell you guys something. When I think about family values, not only do I think about the two guys on the screen here today, William Jacques and Chris Stompanato, I also think about Elon Musk. And let me tell you why. Elon Musk and his brother have supported their father since the 1990s financially. That's late breaking news today. That came out of their family secrets that they have supported their father. Now, you know what? The guy wasn't as rich as he is today in the 1990s. He's a generous guy. He's a family man. And I do believe good karma has followed him as being the number one businessman in the universe. Stomps, anything to add on that?
Did they put their dad up in a loft somewhere, or what does it mean support their dad? It costs him nothing. That guy's got billions.
He's been doing it since
he should support his dad. You're giving him like all this praise.
That is an amazing guy. And Art, that was for you because I know you love Elon Musk as well as for me. And I think everybody should realize how great his family values are.
By the way, I got to say that this is probably the first episode where the music actually sounded pretty good in the intro. So I don't know what you did, but it was much better than
William. I think it's William and his presence. He brings good vibes to the show. And he's been on the show before. This is not his first time. He was one of the guys, one of the pioneers, our longtime guest, longtime listener, longtime viewer. You bring good energy to the show and to the ball hockey community. We're going to talk a little bit about you as a leader shortly. So just, I know you like to talk, and that's one of the greatest qualities that you have. We're going to give you that opportunity tonight. Okay, brother? You're going to have that opportunity. But before we get started, listen, guys, the Chicago Blackhawks are going through an entire rebuild here. They signed like a failing goalie. They got all these skillless players in training camp. I don't think, and what I read today, Stomps and Billy, I read today that Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane don't buy into this rebuild. And if that's truly the case, then I think they got to ship them and their heavy contracts out of the city. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Bill.
I think it's a tough position. I think it's a tough position for Patrick Kane because he might end up being one of the all-time great American players to ever play. And he's up there as far as top Blackhawks. So does he want to end his career with 3 Stanley Cups, or does he want to go after more? Jonathan Toews is our captain, face of the organization, but his production does not equal what he's being paid. And that's a tough position to be in, a tough position for them to move him, and a tough position for the Blackhawks in general if they're truly going through a complete rebuild, which is what it appears is happening.
Very good. Very insightful. Very insightful. I didn't expect anything less. Stomps, what about you? What about you? Longtime Blackhawks fan. You've been going to the games since the 60s, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think my first game was 65. Bill's right about Taves' production. And then you have the opposite with Kane, where his production is still solid.
Right.
And I think, if he was like more at the tail end of his career, I mean, the real tail end of his career, and production was down, he'd stick it out with the Hawks. He'd end entire career with the Blackhawks. I think the fact that he is productive and he's still, I don't see the end for him right away. That's where he might want to go somewhere else. And, I've heard Rangers to reunite with Panarin. I've heard Buffalo because that's his hometown.
I've heard the Leafs.
Gotta.
Oh, there's been some talk about that in Toronto as well, but the Leafs getting their hands on him imagine him and Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
But
if it happens, the Hawks better get some good pieces for a guy like him, certainly.
Right. I think Stomps, if you think about it from a fantasy perspective, unless and until he gets off the Hawks, he's not going to be the greatest pick, because on the Hawks, he's going to be a minus. His plus minus is going to kill him. I mean, in terms of his production offensively, it's still incredible, like both of you guys were saying. I think he's got a lot left in the gas tank. What do you guys would agree with that? It sounds like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And Billy, I'll say, listen, outside of I was a big Pat LaFontaine fan. I still am. Yeah. And, obviously Mike Modano, another great American player. I think Kane is going to supersede both of them. I do. I really do.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
We got a lot of interesting things to cover today. So I'm going to pass it on to William in a minute here. I just wanted to say a few things about you and what you did last night, and then it's all you from here. He's gonna talk to you about this new Wednesday draft league. He took it over, I'd say mid-season last session. He took it over from Frank. Frank had some conflicting priorities and responsibilities in his life. And we respect that. He's given a lot to this ball hockey community. So William stepped up and took a lot on his shoulders, and he did a great job. And yesterday was an extension and a continuation of that, when he brought together 8 general managers to build 4 teams yesterday. But there was a lot of work behind the scenes, and I'm in no position to minimize that and undermine all that hard effort. He's going to share with you some really exciting things momentarily. But one of the things I will say is he came across with a philosophy as the commissioner that he got buy-in from 8 different personalities, including his own, how to run a league. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that, Bill. You're going to get some questions this evening about your style and kind of what your vision is. And I think both Stomps and I will probably pepper you in a healthy way, but I think it's good for the league. But listen, why don't you take it away and tell us a couple of things around what you're trying to do, what you did last night, what was the outcome of last night in terms of the 4 teams, and some of the exciting things you're going to be putting together. We're just really anxious to hear, and all the thousands of viewers out there tonight want to hear on the Neutral Zone what came out of last night. So I'm going to give it to you, and then we're gonna just have an open dialogue here tonight. So welcome to the show, and let's hear from you.
First of all, thanks for having me, Nav and Stomps. Obviously, we've been teammates for a long time. We've played on many teams together and on the other side of the rink as well. what happened was, this isn't something that I'm used to doing, that I've never done before. It's kind of out of my comfort zone, but I wanted to try something different. Frank Klein has done a lot for our sport. Has put a lot of time and effort into tournament teams and travel teams and our leagues. And when Frank didn't want to do it anymore, never really helped Frank as much with that because of my own schedule and my own life. So my kids are getting a little older, and I had a little more time, and I decided that I wanted to take this on. My idea was to bring 8 guys together, including myself, and not have a commissioner. Have 8 guys collaborate and be leaders, and in turn make it fun. Hockey, sometimes with the competitive nature of it, and Stomps, and UNAV can probably speak to this. I'm a very fiery guy. I say some stuff on the rink sometimes that I probably, if I thought about it before I said it, I wouldn't say it. So I'm trying to hold myself to a different standard now and be more of a leader. It took 49 years, but here I am, and I wanted to do this because I did not want Wednesday to go away. It's a night that we used to have a lot of fun with, and coming out of COVID here, I'm sure guys our age still want to play, and we want the younger guys involved as well. So my thoughts were to make it as fun as possible. When we're on the rink, competing is competing. That's great. But I want the guys to come to the bar afterwards and get to know each other and have a beer and have some pizza. So that's why I did the pizza thing for the guys yesterday, because I thought the more you get to know somebody, maybe you strike up more friendships, because I've met a lot of people through this sport in the years that I've played it, and some of those people have become my very best friends. So it really, to me, was kind of simple. I wanted to simplify it, and I wanted to get as many guys together as possible, and that was done through our team app. And most of the guys were signed up on there, as well as other places that we've played before. I reached out to a John Scully. I reached out to a Brian Pisnarski from the Southwest Ball Hockey, and try to get as many young guys and regulars as possible to try to build a league. Now, my goal was to get 6 teams, but we start with 4. I think that's a good way to start. I got trophies for the champions, for most valuable player, most valuable defenseman, and most valuable goalie. That will be voted on by the 8 captains, 2 from each team, 2 representatives from each team. My thought process there was, I want people to have something from the league to remember it, because things tend to go quickly. And I know, playing hockey throughout the years, you in Canada and the United States, and Stomps in Italy and United States, we want to, when we get older, we still look at those trophies. Then we may dust them off, but they're reminders of the fun that we had playing the game, right? So the trophies were an important piece to it, because it's a symbol of something that we want to be positive. What we're going to do with the championship trophy is, I got one that's bigger so you can put plates on it. And then the champions will get to hoist that cup, take pictures, go have some pizza and beer in the bar, and keep that. The captains get to keep that cup until the next session, because there will be a next session. And our goal is to build it to 6 teams. And then our goal after that is to build it to 8 if we can. There is a group of people who maybe don't know what our rink is yet, or don't know what a great family we have. So my idea was to create that, and start with the guys who've been doing it for years, like yourself, and Frank, and Mike Scalzetti, and Joe, and Stevie J, and Dave Wagner. And I hope I didn't miss anybody. My idea was to build this Art Carpenter, the great dentist.
Yeah.
And my idea was to take these 8 guys, where all the commissioners of the league and have these captains kind of run their own team and also be leaders and make sure that they're policing any smaller issues that we might have that come up during the league. But everything will be voted on by those 8 people. So the gist of it is, let's have fun and let's get to know each other a little more, and let's have that trophy as a reminder of how much fun that we had. So that was my main goal in this.
Excellent. And I think your goal was met and surpassed with the collaboration last night. And I'll be honest, I'll be the first to tell you that I didn't expect it to go as well as it did. Not because the guys are not unified, but it's just that what happens is you got 8 guys out there who are very competitive. And competitive streak doesn't end on the floor. You're competitive when you draft as well. And the way you set it up was really good. I think talking about how everybody kind of owns a piece of this league is important. And I think it came through yesterday. You're gonna unveil the teams here, because the viewers want to hear what teams came through last night. But I will tell you, before we even get started in Stomps, I expect you to ask a lot of questions here. I've never seen such parity. I have never seen, like, I walked out of there yesterday thinking, hey, could I have picked this guy? Could I have picked that guy? And I think the parity is there. I think every single game should be competitive. And if it's not, it's only because somebody's having a bad night, an off night. There was some guys who couldn't make the game. Some teams had a few more part-timers because there's some real talented part-timers out there too. You know, they had to put a backup goalie, something like that, some sort of confounding factor. You know what I mean? So if it's okay with you, Billy, maybe you kind of get through the teams and talk about, you know, each team, the 2 GMs, and who was selected on those teams. You don't have to go in order, and then sure. I think we should talk a little bit about these teams.
Okay, we'll start out.
Stomps, you good with that process?
Do you have any questions for me, Stompy, so far?
No, but it's funny that Nav took one of my questions that I was going to ask, which was about, I was going to ask about the parity. Do you feel you've achieved true parity, or is maybe there a team in there that seems to have an edge? But Nav,
why doesn't he go through the teams first, and then we can push him on that a little bit, because I do think it's worth a discussion.
Okay. So let's start out with the A team.
That's their name, the A team.
Yes, that is the captains are Mr. Dave Wagner and Mr. Stevie J. If you guys don't know it, and the A team was a show that was on in like the 80s or 90s.
It was the 80s, and aren't they escaped convicts?
Yes, the great B.A. Baracus. So it was a great show back in the day. The A team is led by those 2 gentlemen, and their first pick was, listen, this guy is probably one of the best hockey players I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of them. Eddie Urban, the bronze medalist from the championships that just happened in Canada. They drafted him first, which right there, that puts them on the map, doesn't it? I mean, that's a great pick.
Absolutely.
Then they went with another talented gentleman from Deerfield, Illinois, Danny Brunner. We go down the line, Sean Frick, who is a very, very fast defenseman. He runs for days. We have Matt Milkovich, a great defenseman. We got Sean Dennison, who was on the Masters team. Really, really talented player. One of the newer guys to come to our organization. Really, really great guy. The veteran Eddie Switek.
Great bowler.
Absolutely great bowler.
Golfer.
Great golfer. Yes. And also, and this is the most important thing, Stomps, a very great cook. He did a really good thing for us in Iowa. Eddie was the grill master.
Absolutely. I already talked about that at length.
Yes, we love that. The veteran of the old Lightning from back in the day, the great Joe. Oh, that's Joey Gleason, his son. We call him one of the Hanson brothers, Joey Gleason. That's the modern day Hanson brothers. We have Dan Lauer, who's a big Notre Dame fan, so we love him. We got Todd the Builder. So we got Todd. Let me see who we got here. And then they ended their, and this ends their full-time players. They went with the solid defenseman, Brian Dudek, and then the jack of all trades. He could be a goalie. He could be a forward. He could be a defenseman. University of Michigan lover, Chris Hay. And then we went to their part-timers. Their part-timers were the Canadian sensation, Josh Hamlin, who currently is attending college in Canada, but will be back in November. He'll make 4 or 5 games. We got the great Sandro, who steals my dip every time we're at the bar, but a great guy, really, really nice guy. Brian Ganutek, we used to call him 7-Eleven back in the day because he was always open. We got Pinky Ryan, who is dealing with 18 kids at home, but he's going to try to make some games. And let me see, I think that might be it for Mr. And then with rounding out his team is Martin Landowski. So as you can see, they have some real high-end talent on that team. Some guys that can put the puck in the net, and some guys that can play some defense and David net. So they have a pretty decent team, combination of speed and skill. That's what I see there. So
Yeah. Stomps, take it away. We're gonna go team by team. You have any questions about this team, Stomps?
No, I think it's pretty well balanced from what I'm seeing here. I think any team that has an Eddie Urban is in good shape right there. I mean, himself and Bruner are going to probably light it up with their offensive prowess, I'm sure. I haven't had a chance to really do a deep dive analysis of this, but yeah, I like the team for sure. I think Dave Wagner, he can carry the load in goal. He won a championship for Team Red on the Monday Night League. This was what, maybe a session or two ago.
a couple sessions ago, yeah, absolutely.
And, yeah, like the team. I like all the guys. There's no one I'm going to say anything bad about. I mean, I think it's pretty solid. You got some good defensemen too. Yeah, like it.
I think so. This is the A team.
So how many are the full timers?
There's around what Billy? There's like around 10. I'd say 10 full.
Yeah, 10 full-timers and the rest are part-timers. 10 or 11. I think 11. I think one team at 11. But
is a team like this, are they going to be able to, like, if every single guy wants to show up for the first game, is that okay? Or is it limited and somebody's going to be a scratch?
I don't think we want to limit a league that we're trying to get buy-in from everybody and kind of include everybody. I doubt there's going to be a week where everybody shows up. Like on this team, I'll give you an example. Ryan is going to be, because of his situation with, his children and stuff like that. Martin as well. Josh Hamlin is currently in school in Canada, so he won't be around for a little while. So you knock that down and it's what, 13 now, 14 now. So yeah, I mean, Brian Ganutek, he doesn't come out on Wednesdays as much. He can make a couple games here and there. So they'll probably have 12 guys a week. And that's probably what we want. That's probably what we're looking for. We could have maybe squeezed another team out, but I didn't want to do that because there's going to be times that people just can't make it for any number of reasons. So I wanted to make sure we had a little bit, maybe too many guys to start this and then move on from there.
The other comment I would have is you have Ganutek, Dudek, Swiatek, and then of course Landowski. So you have a tremendous Polish core to this team.
Is Brian Dudek Polish?
I would bet the farm on it, but I
Okay.
could be wrong.
Okay.
I am going to, so I like this roster. I like the picks that the A team made, Wagner and Stevie J. My interest on this team is to see how they establish chemistry. Because when you look at the players that they picked, there's some really good players on this team. I mean, led, like you said, by Eddie Urban, but you have some real strong personalities, which could really make for a solid team in terms of leadership. I mean, you got some really strong personalities. So that chemistry is, if that emerges, they can be really successful and run the table. I really think so. So that's kind of my biggest observation on this team. It's a good combination of veteran leadership, young guns, and then, obviously with Dan Bruner there, you have another secondary prolific scorer behind Eddie Urban. So I like this team a lot. I think it's just another example of how the parity worked. Who do you want to do next, BIlly Jacques? You want to go Dynamo?
Yes, let's do Dynamo. But before you made a comment about guys getting to play with each other. As a group, we decided that we're going to start the league with one preseason game. So guys can get used to playing with each other for a game. And then we're going to have 10 regular season games. And then we're going to do the playoffs, which is 1-4, 2 versus 3, and then the championship game and a consolation game. So that's how we're going to do that. So it gives the first week is kind of a getting to know each other kind of game. So my great 8 people there, the great 8, I'm going to call them, our management group decided that we would think of that as well and have the first game be a preseason game.
Excellent. Great idea.
All right, let's go into Team Dynamo, which is led by, I don't know if I'm going to call him the host or the co-host of the Neutral Zone, but Nav. And his partner in this is Art Carpenter. Art's a great guy and an awesome dentist, so I heard. So Team Dynamo's been around for a while, but this next infusion of talent on this team is going to be very, very good roster. Very, very nice roster. I'm going to tell you with Dynamo, Art and goal, he's as solid as they get. He does yell too much during the games, but he yells screen and makes noises, but we love him.
Hey, Nav, are you able to pull up the roster like you did on the last
Yeah,
one?
can you not see my screen here right now?
I can, but it's really small. The other one, it was nice and big in the middle.
Yeah, that's because it was a photo.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, that's okay.
Here, I can try to, yeah, you know what, though? I'll do that. That's fine. I'll figure out a way to do that. Keep going.
Okay.
Going.
So, Stomps, you're going to notice a trend in the first couple picks here. So, so the first pick for Team Dynamo was Miles Silverne. So Miles obviously is a fantastic player. He was the MVP, the NBHL for the Raiders. So Miles is an incredible player. I've watched Miles basically grow up on our team. So wonderful individual and awesome hockey player. Next person, one of my best friends, if not my best friend, Chris Landowski. I've known him for years. Chris is an accomplished defenseman. What can you say about Chris? He was the backbone of our team for years. Justin Garlinski. Justin is a hard-nosed player with a lot of skill. Justin can run for days. He likes to turn in front of that net and get to the front and get his shot off. And he's very, very good. And he's getting better and better. I mean, he's coming off that ACL injury about a year and a half ago, and he's better than he was beforehand. So he's really, really good hockey player. Then we got the great Joe Gleason. Joe's, ex-Lightning lore from back in the day. Joe is
ex-Lugag.
Ex-Lugag, yes. Yeah. Joe's as good as it gets. Love Joe. One of my favorite players to play with. And then we got the face-off expert, Mike Sabatini. And then we got Tommy Nickton. Used to play hockey with his dad. That makes me feel old. We got Latham, who I play with on Monday night. Latham is a winner. Latham knows how to play the game. And then we got Alex. We call him Big Chara. Really big defenseman. Can move the puck and can shoot the puck. And then we got Mr. Bill Foley. I've been playing with Bill now for about 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks, or maybe a little more on Monday nights with the white team. Bill clears up all my bad rebounds, and I let a lot of them up. And he's very solid, very, very solid. We got Raj, who is a wonderful person. I was talking to Raj last night. Good player. Raj knows what he's doing. And we got the veteran Ed Del Castillo, who runs our Monday league. I call Eddie Grandpa, but he's still playing the game, and he scores, he chips in goals every once in a while, but he's hard to play against.
That
Eddie,
car he showed up in Monday night was sweet.
woo. Oh, the big one?
I think it was a 442 or something.
Yeah. That's
Beautiful.
Eddie. And then we got part-time Nav, who I still haven't found out why he's part-time, but we'll let him discuss that on a later date. Nav is as solid as they get on defense. We need him really, really, really bad on our Masters team moving forward. I think he brings an element to that team that we need. We got a John Scully here. John is
That's all right.
sorry for the dog.
No, it's all right.
We got a John Scully, who is probably one of the better hockey players, probably the best hockey player I've seen on 3-on-3. And I mean, he's amazing. Him and Eddie Urban are really, really close in skill level. I mean, they're 1-2 or 1A, 1B. I mean, just a tremendous player. We got Blake Warham. Blake plays 3-on-3 as well. And he is supposedly an A defenseman. So, and
He is, I will tell you that. Right.
yeah, tremendous player. I don't know who Blake is. I don't know if I've ever played against him in what's that rink at Glencoe.
I play with him at Glencoe.
Yeah, tremendous player. And then we got Officer Freddie Coletta. Freddie is a veteran who has played many, many games with the Raiders. He's absolutely tremendous. Really, really good person. I've gotten to know him and his family, just a dear friend of mine. We got Sammy Espinoza. I call him my son. Sammy can put the puck in the net. He's probably scored a lot of goals against me. I know that. I'm picking the puck out of the net from him all the time. He's a great shot. One-timers are his specialty. And then we got Bobby Silverne, Miles's dad, who is a great guy as well. And Bobby is one of those guys that I call him the crash test dummy, because that guy gets in front of everything. He is a defenseman at heart. And I worry about him at his age, but he still plays the game like a 20-year-old. So that's Bobby Silverne.
Well,
And that rounds out Team Dynamo. Really top to bottom, a great team.
Thank you. I'm going to say two things, and then I'm going to open it up to Stomps. Number one, I want to say Dynamo is a 22-year-old franchise that has its roots in the KHL. The KHL has a team called Dynamo, and then in Toronto, we in the early 2000s, we introduced this team. This team has won lots of championships north of the border. There is a problem on the part-time list, and that is one of the founding members of the Dynamo Chicago chapter is conspicuously absent. He is my co-host on the show today, Stomps. He should be on this list. I called him immediately after the draft yesterday and spoke to him at great length to try to ask him what his part-time status was, because he was not in the draft. Stomps, you are one of the founding members, not only my esteemed co-host, but of Dynamo. Is there any opportunity that you will reconsider, and then I can take it to the 8 other the 8 general managers to get you on the part-time list for Team Dynamo.
Well, everyone knows I'm an incredible difference maker, so I think the captains might have an issue. There's always a possibility. I mean, it's I think once the weather starts getting a little more south and Woodridge starts going away, it's a better likelihood for me because 4 in a row is going to be tough. And I'm assuming there's going to be another Monday league, I guess. And who knows? Maybe I play Wednesday and drop Monday. I don't know. There's possibilities. I'm not closing the door to anything.
Sure.
Commenting on this team, just you should toot your own horn on Nav because the great Dynamo Club recently won the Salam Cup up there in the Toronto area, and you failed to mention that. Can you say a couple of things about that?
Absolutely. So we won the Masters tournament on July 18th in Toronto. We've been there in the finals 4 times, and during the pandemic, 2 years were canceled. We beat a team that was the returning champion. They won every single time, and we won in the finals 5-0. So Dynamo is finally. And listen, I'll just call it out. Our goalie we played 5 games to win the championship. Our goalie and BIlly Jacques, you'd be impressed with this guy. He had 4 shutouts in the tournament, and he was the MVP. I hope one day you guys both have the pleasure of meeting one another. But yeah, we did. Stomps, thank you for your support and tuning in to the live feed while we were there. We're just pleased that we finally won it, and we're looking to take that success over here as well in Chicago.
Beyond that, I would say about this team, things that stand out to me, pretty solid up the middle when you got Sabo and Latham as centers that are really solid in that area, taking draws. I mean, what can you say about Miles, Chelly, and Justin? That's, really good right there. I mean, I think all through the lineup, again, very solid. And I think if the Dynamo team has an opportunity to get the likes of a Scully and Blake out there together in a game, that's going to be a handful for the opponent. Because Scully is, yes, great 3-on-3 player, but he's pretty damn good on the big rink too. We've seen that previously at Palatine. Fred Coletta, what can you say? You misspelled the name there, the last name. Coletta with 1 L. So just pointing that out. But yeah, you got the great Slam and Sammy.
Right.
Like you said, Billy, I mean, there's instant offense right there. So yeah, I mean, up and down. Just looking at it, I like the lineup, the defense with Bob and Chara and Foley and others. I don't know what. Okay, there you go. Oh, Gleese, I can't leave him out. But I mean, up and down, and I don't want to leave anybody out. But I mean, this is again another good team. So okay, so we're halfway through going through these rosters, and my initial thought is pretty good parity between the two we've seen so far. So I'm anxious to see the next two.
That's a huge endorsement from a guy with the hockey IQ that you possess. I will say that I'm going to have to wear my reading glasses more regularly when I'm out at Palatine because it's very hard for me to tell the difference between Sabatini and Rajatini. All right. Bad joke.
I like it.
All right, let's go to the next team. Unless Dilly, any comments on that? You did a nice job, kind of, walking us through.
No, I think that's just commenting on everybody. I think that it's just a wonderful team. I think they're going to have a lot to say. And the great Art Carpenter in net. Watch out, Art's a guy that can get on a roll. So it's going to be a fun league, and it's a good team. I think we're gonna there's going to be some close games. It's going to be won and lost by how people perform. That's it.
Agreed.
We're ready for the pizza bats.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we have team 3 here is the Pizza Bats, run by good friends Mike Scalzetti and Joe Ludek. Those guys have been friends for a long time. They're almost inseparable. When you see one, you see the other. These are 2 of the stars of the great Foxhound teams who we know we've played them for years. Stomps and Nav, we've been on both ends of the wins and losses against them in pretty big hockey games. They bring a lot of talent, a lot of speed, and just smart hockey. So those guys are winners, man. They win a lot. And Mike and Joe did a really nice job last night in drafting. If you notice their team, you'll see a lot of Foxhound guys on this team. They really have a strong bond throughout all our leagues. The one thing I noticed when the Foxhounds first came in, when I first noticed them, is they always had a lot of guys and they always went to the bar afterwards and had a great time together. So their friendship bond is really, you know, besides their talent and everything else, that stands out to me. Let's go through this list. Mike Scalzetti can score on anyone, can wreck a game, speed, finesse, really smart with the ball. If you notice, Mike gains the zone sometimes and kind of lets things happen around him. And he's a really great passer and he's a really great scorer. Not really much more to say about him. He's a load to play against. Joey Ludek, want to congratulate him on scoring over 800 goals in Woodridge. I heard that happened. Joe probably had about 350 of them on me, which that's not a good story, but Joe is a great guy and a sniper. Joe can shoot the ball, man. Joe can shoot the ball. He's a great passer as well. We got Chris Sheets, intelligent hockey player, intelligent individual, tough to get out of the front of the net, uses his body well. We got the handsome Terry McMahon. He's good at everything. He's good at life. He's good at hockey. He's good at golf. Terry's just a wonderful person. We get Danny Schwartz, really hard-nosed defenseman. Really quick story about Dan. Really quick. The championship game of our league, early in the game, Bobby goes behind the net, loses the puck. Puck's right in front. Somebody's about to shoot it in the empty net. Here comes Dan Schwartz rolling across, putting his face in front of it, basically. So Danny will do anything to protect his goalie. We got the great Lou Mangini. Lou is a jack of all trades as well. He just steps in and plays championship hockey games in goal and wins them. Great defenseman. And, Lou's been my friend for a long time. We got Jimmy Brill. He's kind of a newcomer. Jimmy's getting better and better every time he plays. He's hard to get out from that side, and he tries to take the puck to the net, and he's good in front too. He has really soft hands. So Jimmy's a great player. The veteran Tommy Marook, one of my favorite defensemen of all time. Tommy's a guy you don't notice because he's so damn solid. He does everything well. He scored a goal on Monday night against me with 26 seconds left to tie a game that we were winning 5-2. And Tommy would be the last guy that I thought would pinch in and get a rebound and snap it home. So Tommy is just a damn good hockey player and a really, really good person. We got Giuseppe. He can score with the best of them. He comes with that Foxhound lore, those group of guys that all of them can play well. We got Gary. Gary is a wonderful defenseman who shoots the ball hard, and you'll always hear his voice. Gary will be heard. Me and Gary have had a lot of fun times playing in tournaments together. I'll never forget Gary driving home after we won the Masters Championship in the pouring rain, driving 95 miles an hour with the rain sideways. But Gary's a good guy. We got Alex Marcinkowski from the Southsiders. Alex is as good as they get. I call him the gentle giant. He can do anything with the ball. He could score, he could pass. He's just a wonderful person and a great hockey player. We got Danielle Strohmeyer. Danielle is
World class.
yeah, just USA, one of the top women's players I've ever seen, one of the top players I've ever seen. Screw the women's stuff. It's just, she's just an awesome player and a wonderful person. Just a wonderful person. Danielle is just, she's the goods. She's the best. We got a newcomer, Owen Worth. Owen asked to be added to the league and was going to come out last night, but couldn't make it, but still wants to be part of this. So we'll see what Owen brings to the table. Hopefully he enjoys it and invites all his hockey friends, because that's what we want. And then we got Sam Ansari. He's got the cannon shot. Sam can play. And as a goalie, I've fished a lot of those out of the net behind me. So as you can see, with the combination of, the Foxhound guys and solid defensemen like Tommy Marook and Lou Mangini, I mean, you got everything on this team, everything. So they're going to be, I look at this roster and I say they're going to be hard to beat. So that's
nice summary. Stomps, I'm going to let you start with your observations / questions, and I'm going to make a few comments about the pizza bats in a second here.
So Joe was their first pick.
Joe was a captain with Mike. He's one of the eight. He's one of the 8 guys we have running the league. He's one of the 8 commissioners, we'll call him.
So Bobby D was not a commissioner.
No, Bobby was because Bobby played with the Foxhounds, and Bobby played with. We wanted Bobby to play with them, and they wanted Bobby. I mean, they have a great relationship, and this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to put them together, and they're comfortable. They know each other. So most of those guys have played, with Bobby for a while now. So their first pick was actually Giuseppe. Giuseppe was their first pick.
So if Giuseppe was the first pick,
Was it not Sheets, Billy?
No, Giuseppe was their first pick and Sheets was their second pick.
Okay.
So my question was going to be, if Giuseppe was the first pick, could somebody else have taken Sheets?
Yes.
So there was no backroom deals here.
No backroom deals. No, we just what we did was we took the top 12 players, and we tried to do the draft in tiers. So we took the top 12 players and we put them on a list. Now, you didn't have to choose those top 12. We weren't telling people what to do. We wanted to just kind of alert people who maybe didn't know. We wanted to help people in case they didn't know who someone was. We wanted to make sure to let them know, hey, these top 12 guys, they're high-end hockey players. And then you had the opportunity to either pick one of those 12 guys or someone else. And Giuseppe and Chris were 2 of those 12 guys.
Yeah. No, this is, again, really good team. Starting with Mike, what can you say, right? I play either with or against him pretty much every Sunday at Woodridge, and I prefer to play with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he does really try to make everybody else on the team better. He doesn't care who you are. He's going to find you with a pass. He doesn't discriminate. I see some guys in our leagues who they might see a certain somebody open and they intentionally won't pass it to that person. I see that. And I'm not naming any names, it just happens. But Mike's the kind of guy that will spread the wealth, and he hustles both ends, and he's got a little bit of a mean streak in him too, which I like. So starts with him. You said about Joe. I was going to mention the 800 goal. I believe I was one of the assists on his 800th goal. So,
yeah.
Sheets. You can't beat Sheets around the net.
No, he's tough.
Wraparounds, deflections, rebounds. He's like Phil Esposito was in his heyday, because he's got that length and the reach and everything else. So and I'm not going to just go through every guy here, but I just like the lineup, especially, if you can get an Alex and a Danielle in that lineup, with those other guys at the same time, the part-timers. And the great Bobby D, right? Setting the night on fire.
That's it, Bobby D.
Coming off, I should mention the great Toros Bearcats golf outing that we had last weekend. And kudos to Bobby and Dave Schmiel for the great job they did in pulling that together. It was a lot of fun. And so Bobby's a great choice there in goal. So, and like everybody, Lou, Dan, solid defense, Terry, Brill, Tommy Marook, who's my teammate on Mondays, plays great both ends. So
Right.
Really everybody on that list. I don't know Owen, but another solid team. So here we go. So far, I'm agreeing with the parity.
Good.
Not to get controversial, but I'm sure there's going to be some people who might squawk or who have already squawked about this being a Foxhounds team. I say, hey, if you got a problem with it, beat them. That's what I say.
Yeah, I like that approach. And, a couple of observations I'll make, Billy, about this team. Let me start at the top with Mike and Joe. I thought yesterday, and I know you guys are listening, and if you're not, I just want to tell you they were pretty collaborative last night. I really enjoyed drafting alongside with both of them. I thought they were, looking to support the other GMs with decision making if they knew another player. They had a really good sense. Both of them do, and I think some of that comes from Joe's experience as a manager on the Woodridge committee. He has a pretty good sense of players and their skill levels. So him and Mike did a nice job drafting. I would add one thing that does, and I'll just supplement what Stomps said. One thing that often goes overlooked about Mike is exactly what Stomps said about his passing ability, but his tenacious competitive spirit. So he's not afraid to muck around and get into those dirty areas. So I think that kind of leadership on a team is very infectious. So I think, one thing I'll say to both Mike and Joe and the other GMs, it's an open invitation for all of you to be on the neutral zone. We've had some of the Foxhounds leadership by sort of led by Eric come on the show before, but I think it would be great to kind of have Mike and Joe come on the show at some point. They're well known in the league. They've been successful. They did a nice job drafting. Two more observations I'll make about this team. We often talk about the high octane firepower of Mike, Joe, Chris Sheets, Giuseppe. They got depth on defense. I mean, and I think Billy talked about that a little bit with Tommy Marook, Lou Mangini, Dan Schwartz, Gary Schwendinger, and then Sam Ansari. There's a lot of depth. If those guys show up, that's a team with really good defense. And, when you have scorers at the high octane level like they do, and then you have a really solid back end, I think, like Stomp said, they're going to be really tough to beat. You talked about back end deals going on, Stomps. I was tempted last night when they were going. I knew they were going after Tommy Marook, and they were picking just before me in that round. And I really wanted Tommy on my roster. And again, it was great to see Tommy play with some different guys. Tommy's he's an ex-Dynamo guy as well as a Toro. And I played with Tommy the last several sessions, and I echo everything BIlly Jacques said about Tommy Marook. So that's a great pick for them. I think that was one of the best picks of the draft. And I credit to the Pizza Bats for getting him. Okay, so we're gonna move on, and we're gonna go to team death here. I'm gonna put that up for you there, Billy, so you can talk about team death. Sorry.
Great to have the great Death back.
There you go. Can you see that, Billy?
Yes, yeah. So Team Death was a team that I played on 1997, 96, 97, I believe was when it started. I could be wrong. But Frank Klein, I remember Frank joining in 98 over at Poplar Creek in Hoffman Estates. We played on Sundays. It was just a fun fun league, and we had a bunch of crazy good guys. It was a lot of fun. I remember my first game playing with Death. We lost 13-0 to I think it was the Mutiny, and there was all the Hispanic guys from back in the day, Tito and Jose, and you'll know those names, Stomps from. I mean, really high end players. They beat us up real bad, but we learned to play. It taught us a lesson. So Team Death is led by Frank Klein and myself. What we were looking to do here is kind of get some speed, some youth, along with some veteran leadership. You'll notice some familiar names of guys who have played with me and Frank before, and some guys who haven't, and a guy who has not played in a long time that is making his triumphant return. So we'll go down with, we'll start with Bill Little Jr. The kid is a sensational player. He gets better and better every time I see him on the rink. He is a lightning bolt. So he is just, man, he's going to be great. He's going to be one of the great ones. So the kid's a good kid, and he has a great family. I love his dad, and just a great famly.
He's a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, just so you know.
Is he? So that makes him a good guy.
Hugely.
That knocks him down a notch or two.
And then we got Jeremy Fredette, who's coming off the hand injury. He came out last night for the first time. So Jeremy's fully healthy. Jeremy is just a great defenseman. As a goalie, love having Jeremy in front of me. He cleans up a lot of messes I make, and on the other end, he can pass and he can shoot with the best of them. We have Brian Pisnarski, another one of the guys that played in the NBHL with the Raiders. Brian has a great shot from the point and is a really smart hockey player. So love playing in back of Brian. We got the speedy Josh Kramer. He goes into the tough areas. He does the hard work. So I love the way Josh played. The next guy is a guy that I've been personally impressed with. Patty gets better every time I see him. He's starting to put the puck in the net. He knows exactly what he's doing. He definitely has the Gleason grit, I call it, and just knows how to play the game. Mike Parisi, I played with him and against him when we were doing the pickup games, and Mikey's a good player. He gets better and better as well. And then what else?
Is he any relation to JP?
I asked if it was related to Zach, so I was hoping it was Zach Parisi when I drafted him. So next person, Frank Klein. What can you say? Mr. Terrific, #terrific. Great player on both ends. The good thing about Frank is he can play D and can play O, and at a high level. He will put the puck in the net, and he will help our team be better. So, and then you got myself. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not as good as I used to be, but I still love the game and play hard. Next guy, Anthony Scardinia. Anthony is a guy that I've never seen before. I just heard of him last night. Dave Wagner kind of told me about this guy and how he's played with him before, that he can put the puck in the net. So we need guys and want guys that can put the puck in the net. We got the veteran Chris Frederick. Chris has played with the Raiders forever. Long stick, knows how to play the game. Great veteran. And then the next guy is Jimbo Popper. Jimbo has not played in a long time. Jimbo actually played on the original Death team 20-some years ago. So Richard Young, he made his first appearance out last night. I got to talk to Richard. Nice guy. Used to play out in Oak Lawn on Friday nights when that league was around. And so we picked up Richard, see what he can bring to the table. We got Tommy Broughton. I played with Tommy and against Tommy for years. Great golfer, great hockey player, family man now. Tommy's the goods, man. We love Tommy. Love to have a beer with him. We got the brother of John Scully. That's Tom Scully. I played with Tom on Monday nights. We did win the championship last session with Tom, and he was a big part of it. The next one is Ron Doan. He doesn't spell his name right. He adds the E to it. He's not related to Shane Doan. Ron is the guy who kind of handles the rink, the front desk at the rink. he is a talented player. Can rip it from anywhere, and has really nice stick handling moves.
And if we could stop right there real quick, because I was going to actually mention Ron was going to be one of my shout outs.
Oh, okay.
He's playing with us on Team Blue on Mondays, and we've had a tough session. But like the last 3 weeks, he's rounding into it. I mean, he's getting used to ball hockey, and watch out, the shot, everything. I mean, deceptively quick, actually. He's a big guy. So, yeah, just wanted to.
Okay.
He probably won't even be watching this, but hopefully we'll get him to watch the show. And
Don't be so sure.
And then Keith Kazula is the last one. Keith is, I believe someone said he's going to have back surgery, but he's going to be with us for 4 or 5 weeks before he has back surgery. So, heal up, Keith. We want you back. And that's our team. That rounds up our team. A lot of veterans, a lot of speed, a lot of youth. Just a combination of, I think, a lot of different type of players. And Patty Gleason, who, man, watch out, that guy's getting really good. That kid is growing up.
Right.
do you have any part-timers out of that group?
So the part-timers are, let me look.
I think it starts here. It starts here, the ones I've highlighted.
Yes, that's where it started. Richard Young, Tommy Broughton.
Dick Young, Tommy Broughton, Tom Scully, Ron Doan, and Keith Kazula. They're all part-timers.
Yes, those are my part-timers.
I'm gonna pass it over to Stomps. The one thing that kind of shouts at me about this team, Stomps, first of all, you got two veterans who know how to draft, right? Like the IQ's off the charts, right? With these two GMs. The one thing that kind of shouts and screams out at me is I don't think there's any other team of the four that has as many players that can play both D and forward. So you look at Fredette, he can play both. You look at Patty Gleason, he can play both. You look at Frank, like Billy said, he can play both. You look at Tommy Broughton, he can play both as well. So I know Tommy's relegated to defense, but you got a lot of versatility on this team. And I don't know if that was by design or coincidence, but you certainly have picked a team where you can plug guys in any single position at any given point in a game. So kudos to you guys for really picking. And also, I got to give you credit here. You had an opportunity to pick all Raiders guys, and you kind of took a different direction. And I applaud you for doing that because it allows you to sort of build some new connections with different players and make them feel welcome. So good stuff. I have nothing more to say about team depth.
Yeah, solid players. The only question mark in my mind is there's a number of names on there that I'm not familiar with.
That's what we want with. That's what we want with.
So the question is, what are the unknowns going to bring to the table? But who I do know, it's very solid up and down. There's some good speed there, solid D, goal scoring. Yeah. And of course, goaltending. Can't forget that. So, yeah, I like what you guys have done. Now, can I ask some questions here?
Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing and now so then you can go into the high level discussion here.
Well, because I was just, and I'm going to miss some people here, but there's like names that are conspicuous by their absence in this league. And I'm just going to throw out a few. Ronnie Jr., Adesh, Scott LeClaire, Stevie Grass. And there was another guy I thought might be playing in this league. So, I don't know the situation, but our friend from Woodridge, Steve Cementek, who's been coming out playing at Palatine for the first time and this most recent session. Obviously everybody's got a reason why they're not rostered. But I'm just curious because there's some high-end guys.
Yeah, Billy, do you want to take that one on? I think you can address that question better than anybody.
Sure. So what I did is I would frequently put on the app what was going on, anybody who'd like to sign up. First I did full-time, and then I did the part-timers. And then I just said a couple weeks before the draft or a week before the draft, I put it out there again. And I just said, everybody who wants to play, let's play, and then those were the people that signed up. So for some reason or another, maybe people can't play multiple times a week, family stuff, whatever, life. But yeah, I mean, it was open to anybody. And guys, and here's the other thing, guys like Steve and Adesh, and if they want to play and they're listening to Neutral Zone right now, they can contact me or put something on the app, and I will put them on a team. We're not going to prevent anyone. Stomps, yourself too. If when you're done with your other leagues, and I know you play a lot of we spoke about this off the air. I want you part of this as well. I mean, obviously, but if you're playing 4 or 5 times a week, I know it's rough. But yeah, everybody's invited. So if they want to reach out to me personally, or if they want to sign up on the app or shoot me a text or whatever, we'll put them on a team. The 8 of us will discuss it, and we'll put them right on. We'll put anybody right on a team. So it's an open invitation.
Great observation, Stomps. There was a couple. I had something similar.
And I'm sure I forgot some names. I don't. It was just spitballing there and just thinking of some people. That's all.
Yeah.
If I left anybody out, I don't do that intentionally. I just didn't think.
You mentioned Ron Coletta. Did you say junior? Because senior, I wanted to welcome him back. Senior was there yesterday, and he was playing. I don't know if that's his first game back. He also didn't sign up, but it's good to see him back.
Yeah, definitely. 13 months out is a long time. He had that Achilles injury and surgery and everything, rehab. I haven't seen him. He's been doing the Wednesday thing. Oh, I see him on Monday, but he coaches on the bench for Team Red. But
Stomps, I did inquire about Steve Grass, and because of his business travel, Wednesdays are difficult for him because it's right in the middle of the week.
Like I said, people are going to have their reasons.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I think you'll probably hear from Cementech, Billy. Cementech really wants to play. You may hear from Stefan as well.
Okay.
Stefan.
Yeah.
Who hit me in the face, incidentally, on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm still feeling the effects of that.
One guy that we want to wish a speedy recovery, and hopefully we can welcome him back. I haven't seen him around the rink as often as we'd like to. Is Brett Thunberg? I know he
had surgery, right?
He suffered a knee injury and then subsequent surgery. It's a little overdue, but we're wishing him well, and we're wishing him a speedy recovery and a comeback to the league, because he's a great addition to this league. So Brett Thunberg, I know you're listening out there, and we'd like to see you back. Even if you could start playing part-time, would be great.
I played with Brett a long time. I used to play with him at Poplar Creek on Sundays. Brett's a good player, good man.
Hey guys, we're running a little over here tonight, and I know you guys have family commitments.
I want to mention one more thing, if I can.
Yeah, you bet. Go ahead.
So unless there's a pushback, again, next week starts a new league at Carroll Stream. 3 teams, which is not ideal. Bobby D has his Bearcats in there. I'm playing with him. He really wanted to do it. He said, if we're going to get this off the ground, we got to do it. We'll see what happens beyond this session. 3 is not ideal, but I like playing in places that are closer to my house and are smaller and require less sprinting up and down the floor. So I found that last year I really enjoyed Carroll Stream because it's quirky and it's a gym, which harkens back to my Lugag days in the early 90s, playing in the gyms throughout the Chicago area. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that league, but I just wanted to mention that.
One more question for you, Billy. Are you going to implement a trade deadline?
We did discuss that last night, and we've decided to not do any trades the first session. Kind of keep it a little more simple. Trust that our draft and how we did that, how we perform that draft will work. So I don't think there was any need for it at this point. We may add that in next season. I think getting this league off the ground and making it as simple for everyone to kind of, especially the captains, to get to know their guys and get the money together and get them there and make sure we get as many people out there, players out there every week as we can. We want to spread the word because we want this to be fun for everyone. We want it to be competitive, but we also want it to be fun and inclusive. And that's real important to kind of getting to my goal of 8 teams. I want to get 8 teams in this league, but I want it to be really fun. And I want people to, after the game, to stop for 15 minutes and have a piece of pizza or talk to their teammates. And, that's what we're trying to do here. So hopefully it works. Maybe we'll get some more younger guys from the South Side coming out pretty soon. I mean, there are guys like Kenny and Gabe that did not sign up. I know Gabe's just coming off an injury and surgery and stuff. So really going to focus on getting some of those younger guys out, and maybe some of the other veterans that haven't, that don't think they can play 2 times a week at the same rink or can't do it or can't make the commitment. Hey man, come out part-time. We if you can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games and not the rest, then come out. We want everybody out. We want everybody to have fun.
Tell me about the jerseys.
So the jerseys, that's going to be in charge. That's going to be left in charge to CVJ. He is working with a company called 2 and 10, which did the NBHL jerseys, and Jason Kelly, who I know for years. So he is getting a quote for the number of jerseys, and then the team captains will get me a logo that they want on that jersey, and he will take care of that for us. I believe the lead time on that is 4 to 6 weeks. So we have to get that in this week if we want to have it for half the season. Jason's going to try to hurry it up for me and get it sooner because I've known him for years. So yeah, I mean, we're going to have really nice jerseys. It'll be NBHL style jerseys, the new style jerseys. So it'll be fun. People will. Oh, and I want to mention one more thing. We're going to have 2 goalies that kind of help out. If a goalie's missing or a goalie can't make it, it's going to be Rocco and it's going to be Dave Schmiel. I talked to Dave today, and I told Dave with my schedule and my daughter's basketball and stuff like that, wouldn't it be something if me and Dave Schmiel were on the same team? That's full circle, huh? Toro Raider from
great.
old. So Dave's going to do some part-time stuff too because of his travel schedule, and Rocco was nice enough to fill in when we needed as well. So thank you to those guys.
Hey, Billy, my assumption is that if the turnaround time for the jerseys is 4 to 6 weeks, then you're probably leaning towards, and I know you're going to work with your other GMs and co-commissioners, you're probably looking at not switching into another draft right after this session because, you want to have some consistency, maybe keep these teams together for at least 2-3 sessions, maybe?
Absolutely. What I want to do is I want to try to build more teams. That's the goal. I want those teams, the original teams, to stay together. Now, if there is extenuating circumstances with 1 or 2 guys per team, we can make that work as an organization, as the Great 8, I call it. We can make those minor adjustments, but I want these teams to develop relationships. Some people who don't know each other, let's get to know each other. So yeah, I want that those teams to stay the same, and then we can put it out to the league in 3 sessions. Hopefully we grow it, and if we want to do another big draft and kind of change it up, we'll do that. It'll be up to the Great 8, the 8 GMs, and it'll also be up to the voices of the players who play on those teams. So and that's where the captains come in and, get feedback from their team.
That's really cool. Stomps, do you have any other questions before I kind of wrap up with a few things here?
I would just say, well done, guys. Good job, Bill. This looks good. And looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Thank you,
You know,
Stomps.
I think it's just great to see, some folks carrying the torch and keeping it going. And with goals to grow it as well, which, is an excellent thing for sure.
Thanks, Stomps.
Yeah, and I just want to say in closing to the viewers out there, you tuned in this evening to season 3, episode 4 of the Neutral Zone, where we went through the Wednesday night draft league, the inaugural draft. BIlly Jacques just walked you through the 4 teams. The A team led by David Wagner and Stevie J. Dynamo led by Art and myself, Nav. The Pizza Bats led by Mike Scalzetti and Joe Ludick. And then, of course, Death led by BIlly Jacques and Frank Klein. Before we close, 3 restaurants I want to just bring to everyone's attention. The first one is Kebabi Grill. It's a Persian restaurant on Kedzie. I recommend everybody take the opportunity to grow and expand their palate and try this out. It's called Kebabi Grill on North Kedzie. The second thing is I want to ask you all to support Highland Park businesses right now. After the devastating shooting that happened on the 4th of July, some of the businesses suffered over there. There's two places that I frequent, and I've had a good experience at both of them. One of them opened up after the devastation that happened, and it's called Pokey Burrito, and it's located on 1849 Green Bay Road. And then the second one is where I get my frozen yogurt from, which is Love's Yogurt. So if you have the opportunity and you're passing through Highland Park, please do your best to support those local establishments. These are great recommendations. So Kebabi on Kedzie, and then the 2 in Highland Park, Pokey Burrito and Love's Yogurt. I want to thank you, BIlly Jacques, for taking time out of your busy schedule, time away from your loved ones. I know you're a family man like Elon Musk. And then I also want to thank my esteemed co-host for being available on such short notice this evening. If the 2 of you could just stick around for a quick debrief after we close the show. You tuned in again today to season 3, episode 4 of the Neutral Zone, where we shared with you some really exciting things about the Wednesday League. So I'm going to close here. Thank you very much. And we look forward to your ongoing support of our show. And please do me a favor and subscribe and like the video. Stomps did a great job a few episodes ago around asking you all to like the video. It's
challenging them to like.
Challenging them to like, and it worked well. So please continue to do so. I asked Eric at Woodridge to please post the video. Stomps will reach out to you. Frank, post the video. John Scully, post the video. And all of our esteemed GMs to please post the video and share it with your teammates. Thank you.